Hi guys, welcome back to Handmade with Tara. I am Tara. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up and a stay-at-home mom to 3 beautiful boys. And I love what I do. I get to work with these different stamp suites and bring awesome tutorials to you. So today for you I have the Sweet Gingerbread tutorial, and this is for a workshop I designed around this stamp set and these dies, and it's in the catalog mini that's from July to December 2022, and it's on page 20. This suite right here is what I'm going to be working with here, and I did the I got the Sweet Gingerbread Bundle that came with the stamps and the dies right there. So let's go ahead and get started. I use a couple of different things in this workshop, but I will show you as I get to them. So first off, I will show you the first card I designed, which was this one. So I love this card. It has a lot of texture, a lot of things going on. It's very busy, but I think it looks like candy. I don't know why. Like, I see it and it looks like a little lollipop land. So this is the first one. It has so much texture. I'm going to teach you how to make this. So first of all, I will put out the measurements. So I write these down, and then that way you can pause the video and write down the different measurements if you need them, if you'd like to build this along with me. So here are all the measurements right here. And I kind of like give a little note like what I did. Okay, so white, DSP is designer series paper, if you're not sure what that is. White is like white, basic white cardstock. Crumb cake is a different cardstock. Pool party, soft succulent, both different kinds of cardstock. And this is ribbon. So obviously use what you have. If you have something that's Christmassy ribbon or something that's close to soft succulent, like a green color you can use for trees, like it does not have to be exact, but this is just to give you an idea of what I used. All right, so I'm just gonna set this aside now and get started building this. So I set everything aside for myself, and then I just go ahead and easily will cut these out. So this is this is an insert. Tried to pre-cut everything so that I would just move this along quicker. But okay, so there's the basic white cardstock. So, and that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. All right, so this is the crumb cake paper. This is the designer series paper. It's double-sided, so you can use either side that you want. And then this white piece is going to be for my snowbanks, and I have a pool party color for the clouds, soft succulent for the trees, and I'm going to just show you, I have already cut most of these just to make it easier for me. So this is the gingerbread house. I used the die to cut this one out, and let me show you. So these are the dies that came with it, and I just used this gingerbread house. I put it down on here like this, and then it comes out just like this. So ready to use and ready to go. So I set that aside. Okay, and then I did also, so I can just set this one aside. I also did the cloud that I used. I used this pool party, and I also used that for the door, which I did. Okay, so I cut these pieces out, okay, using the dies as well. So just using these dies, the cloud die right there, and the door die, which is down here, door, okay. So those are these pieces. So those are ready to go. And this is ready to go. And then I used this one for the fence. So the fence is this big long piece here, right here. So I used that. And then luckily I already punched these out and everything, so I can use them right away on my project, which is awesome. And then the same with, I used this one here for the snowbanks. So, and I made, here you go, it looks like this, snowbanks, and I used a little bit, let me just set these aside. All right, so I actually cut 2 snowbanks, and then I did the roof. So that's the roof one. So that'll give us a beautiful snow-covered roof on our gingerbread house, like that. And I also used this soft succulent piece here, and I cut some Christmas tree. I die cut some Christmas trees here. Some fun evergreens. So I did 4 of those. And then the only thing that I did not die cut yet is the lollipops. So I used some lollipops, but I like to stamp those first because it's really, really difficult to do it the opposite way. So that is what I'm going to do first. I will go ahead and I am just going to, since I don't need this whole piece, I can save this piece for something else. I'm going to just use some white scrap paper to do the candy cane. So I'm going to use this right here, this stamp, and I'm going to put that on my block like that. And then, so I have all my materials almost here, and my envelope, or it's not my envelope, my letter here, and then I just need a couple of these. So what I'm going to do is, these are really good and small, so I can use just this paper here, and I'm going to use real red to stamp those beautiful candies. So, and then as long as I can see that, I do a tap, tap, tap. And then see how I got some of this on here? I definitely don't want that to get on my card, so I'm going to wipe that off. I can see it through pretty well. And then I'm just going to stamp it down on this scrap paper. See, I only need 2. And then I can set this aside and get my little die. So this is a great thing about this set, is that they have multiple, so you don't have to do 2 cuts. I can just do 1 cut with these 2 dies over these 2. I'm going to run that through my embossing machine. So, and I like to use a piece of washi tape to hold it down into place. And I think eventually I'll work on getting the mini embosser so it's a little bit easier to move for the camera. Just to show you, but like right now I'm just putting these on my embossing machine, and then I just crank it through so that I have my 2 little candy canes. And now, so you can see the washi tape that I used here, so I can just pull these apart, and this is just a scrap piece of white, basic white cardstock. So, and then sometimes I like to save my washi tape for whatever I'm doing next. And then, so now I'm just going to start building the card, and I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. So I started with this piece here. You can use your multi-glue, you can use your tape runner or your stamp and seal. That's easier for you. You can use either side of the designer series paper or the DSP. And I just am going to build this card. Once you have everything cut out, it should go pretty smoothly here. So there we go. And then I like to build up. So I started with this bottom snow, and then I'm just gonna put the liquid glue right at the bottom of this piece because I am gonna build into the top of it. So I just wanna make sure I have a good solid bottom here that's like covered just halfway, not even halfway. And then I'm gonna put this one, I'm gonna line it up with the paper, the designer series paper at the bottom, just like that. And I'm gonna stick that down and just make sure it lines up with the paper. So I like the liquid glue because you're able to like move it around a little bit after you stick it down. So now like the top part is open so that I can stick in the gingerbread house and all the stuff. So that's the first step here. And I'm actually gonna do this second snowbank. And what I'm gonna do is I kind of stick it up behind this other one so it looks like it's building on. And then wherever this side ends, I'm just gonna cut that off. And then I glued the remainder of it like right there on that piece right there if I need to. So that looks pretty good, just like that. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, I think I'm gonna go ahead and attach that. So again, with the liquid glue, I'm just gonna line the bottom of this part like that, maybe a little bit like that, because I'm gonna end up cutting the other side. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick that in. Like that, just like that. And then I'm just gonna use my snips to cut this part off like that. And then you can put glue underneath there if you'd like to have that piece go down. So I'm just going to lift that, have a little glue dot underneath, push that down, and then that, at least I have my snow done. And then I left the tops open so that I am able, no glue on the top, so that I'm able to like build on top of this. And then this little piece of snow you can put right here in this corner if you like. So that one, it doesn't really matter if the top is glued or not, because ultimately gonna get covered up. So like that. And you can bring it over so it meets the other snowbank if you want to. You don't have to. And then I'm just gonna cut this off. So we're just building onto this card. And then this little piece you can toss. And then I just kind of mess with it. Like this part's sticking up a little bit, so I'm just gonna add a little glue dot so I can stick that down and so that it stays down. And then the next part I'm going to do is my fence. So my fence is going to go down here. So that's why I said it doesn't really matter that this doesn't meet up perfectly. So, and I didn't do the fence all the way to the other side. You surely can. It does make it all the way across. But I just kind of stopped right there because I, wanted there to be a way inside of the gate. So it doesn't really have like a gate door on this. So I'm going to end up putting this right here. Usually I would use glue dots, but I just ran out of glue dots. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. And I'm going to So there are definitely easier ways to do this than adding a bunch of different glue dots. But I don't want to overdo it at all. I use a tiny, like I just push the glue until it comes out and then I just touch it. Push it until it comes out, then I touch it and move it. Touch it and move it so that it doesn't seep through. Just like that. And like I said, I only did it on one side. So I'm going to do it at the bottom too. So if you're doing this along with me and you need to pause the video and do some die cutting, or pause the video so that you can catch up. I mean, this is a good time to catch up because all I'm doing is adding glue. And then for me, I'm just going to kind of guesstimate here where I want this. And you can push all these little pieces out too if you don't like them. Sometimes I leave it to add a little something more. But I really like it, like maybe there. I could have gone even less than that, but all right, now it's glued on. So I'm just going to cut this side. And that you can save for another project, or you can just toss it. So now I have my cute little fence on there. And again, I'm just going to use the glue to make sure that this side is staying down. So I just put a little bit of glue under there, push it down. Hopefully it'll stay down. It's very tiny. If you have a fine tip glue, that would work better probably. All right, so now that this is drying on here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stamp my gingerbread house. So I am going to bring my gingerbread house here, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of stamping. So I used the door. Here, I'm just going to put this one away since I'm done with this one for a second. And I'm going to actually use a little bit of, I think I'm going to use the crumb cake for this. So I got my crumb cake stamping pad, and I'm going to just tap, tap, tap. And then I'm just going to line this up so I know where the door and the windows are going to go on my gingerbread house. So, and then that's what that looks like, just like that. I'm going to clean this off with my chamois so I can pull it off. So I'm going to put this one back, and I'm going to grab the windows next. So, and I use the So Saffron color for the windows. You can also do them crumb cake again if you don't have this color, or vice versa. You can use them. But this will just make it look like there's a little light coming through the gingerbread house. And cleaning that off with my chamois. Oops. Closing this ink, pulling that off. And I'm going to use a little heart design from the top. And there's a wreath you can use. There's another design I'm going to use next. But I use the heart, so I'm going to use the heart again, because I love the way that looks. Such a pretty heart there. Love that red on the crumb cake. It just makes it such a pretty color. And then put the heart away. And then I'm going to add this as well. I am pretty sure that I used Pool Party. Oh, Pool Party, as you remember, is the same color that I used for the door and for this cloud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this little design right on the top of my house here, of my gingerbread house. And I don't wobble it, I just push it straight down and it comes out just like that. It looks cool. I'm happy with it. And I also need my door. So, and with this same Pool Party color, I'm gonna stamp my door. So with the stamp, so this one's actually pretty cool design, I feel like, because it has a lot of stamping and it has a lot of die cutting. So you're getting both texture and lots of fun stamping. All right, and then lastly, I'm gonna go back to that red so that, and I'm gonna attach the door, but I wanna do also my sentiment. So I'm gonna do Have a Sweet Christmas, which is one of the Christmas. I'm gonna clean off the door, put that one away. So just a super fun card. Have a Sweet Christmas. We're gonna get that in real red. Tap, 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 till I can see it perfectly through the image. Make sure there's no dust or anything on my cloud, and boom. Push that down into there, and there we have it. And I believe that is the last bit of stamping for the front of this card. So you can choose to stamp your trees too if you wanted to. I chose not to, but let me go ahead and finish assembling. So I'm going to attach this door, give it a little bit of glue, put that right there. I love how it lines it up for you. You don't even have to think about it. I love these stamps. They're so cute, so much cuter in person than I thought that they were going to be. I liked it, the set, when I first saw it, and I was like, it looked complicated. And it has a lot of steps to it, but it makes for a beautiful card. So I'm really excited about this one. My husband saw it, he said it looked like Christmas. So I was like, ooh, this is a good one. Looks like Christmas. I got a little bit of glue. The top of my gingerbread house there. So now that that's on there and drying, I can add this one to my card next. So it actually, I think I did the cloud first. So, and I kind of, put the cloud over here, put a little bit of glue. I'm just going to put it all the way over to the right-hand side of the card. Like that. And I just line up the Have a Sweet Christmas with the bottom of the card the best that I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now I can add the house. And I'm just going to add some glue to the bottom and about halfway up. And then I'm going to stick it underneath this first snow mound. I'm going to kind of tuck it in that pocket right there. And then when I have it where I want it, like that, I kind of like it right there. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue behind here. So I just put a little glue dot like that, push it down, hold it for a second until it stays down. Okay, now I can add in my candy canes. So again, I just leave the top and then I stuff it down in there like that, right on the side. Do it again. And that. Try not to use too much, but here we go. Because we don't want glue like coming out the sides of the stem, because then the front of the card will be sticky and we don't want that. Then I add my little soft succulent trees. So same kind of concept where I'm just kind of like doing the bottom of the tree like this so that I can add it. And then I added one right to the end of the fence. Like that. And then I'm going to add another one right beside it here. Like that. And then I'm going to do the ones on the other side of the gingerbread house. This is again from the Sweet Gingerbread set. So fun to play with, so fun to create with. I'm going to do a tree here. And the last tree I am going to do over here. Like so. Okay, so now I'm going to add my ribbon. So this ribbon, can't remember what it's called. I'll look it up. I do this one right at the bottom of the fence. So on the very bottom of the card, I put a glue line all the way across. I try not to do it too thick, but at the same time I need this to stick and to stay on. So you don't want to make a gooey mess, but you do want it to stick. So I'm just going to line that fence and see if I can get this to stay. So just going to roll it on there. Press it into the paper until it's, hold it for a second. Stay. Nice. So you might even be able to use a piece of tear and tape, might work a little bit better because you can see like how it's coming up right here. Tear and tape might work better than glue. I think I used glue on my first one, and so I was pretty determined to use glue today, but I think tear and tape would probably work better. So that you can know that it's on there, know it's not going anywhere. Just like that. And lastly, I have a couple of bling that look like snow, so I'm just going to add these. I added one over the cloud, and then I added one over here, and last one over here. And you can also always stamp the envelope if you wish. You can also stamp the inside, which I left it blank, so that people can decide their own sentiment that they like, that they want. And then also, like I said, you can do the envelope, and maybe you want to use like the wreath, or you can use the candy cane, or you can use the tree or the heart, like this, the gumdrops here. Like this set has a lot of like little tiny pieces that are super fun for like mixing it up. All right, so card number 1 is done. Moving on to the next. All right, so I'm gonna set this one aside and let that really dry out. And I am grabbing the next card. So the next card I have for you is a gift card holder. So there are the measurements if you need to pause the video and write down the measurements. Hopefully I did like I did with the last one and I cut most of the stuff out. Ready to go. And this is what it looks like. So this one is a really cool design from the Paper Pixie, a beautiful gift card holder. So it holds a gift card right here. So this is just an old gift card I used to make sure that it worked. And then I also stamped this one, "May the season be filled with peace and joy," but you don't have to stamp the inside if you don't want to. But that is the front. Look at all that texture, super cool. Again, here are the measurements. So the cardstock, colored cardstock, and this is cut 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2 right down the middle, and then also scored again at 2 1/2. So that's the first thing that you're going to start with. And then where your score lines, you're gonna fold those in. Fold those right on the score lines. All right, so there's that. All right, so then that's starting to build the card. And then you are going to cut a piece of designer series paper. And this paper, again, is designer series paper. It's on both sides, very, very beautiful. So what I'm going to do is I really love this color because it has that red in it, brings out that real red. I really love that. So this one you're going to cut at 2 3/4 and 4 1/4, and it's going to leave you with a 1-inch strip. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So cutting at 2 3/4 is the first cut that I'm going to make. So, and that's going to be the perfect size to fit right here on the front. Then I'm going to do it again at 4, or actually I'm going to do the 1-inch strip because then that'll leave me the perfect amount for the last strip. So I'll do my 1-inch strip. And now I have, okay, the 1-inch strip is going to go here, and then this piece is going to go here on the inside like that. So that's the first thing that you do. Then also you're going to need a white insert that is cut 4 by 5 1/4. So in that part's also, that's going to go right on the inside like this. And then we're going to need this part, which is going to go on the front like that. So we can start to build this card and get it all set up. And then I will show you where the stamping comes in here. So let me go ahead and at least get my base set up. So again, you can stamp this if you wish. You don't have to, but I would definitely stamp it before you attach to your card if you plan on stamping it, because if you mess up after it's attached, then you have to start all over. Or if you mess up just on this piece, you can just cut another piece of white and keep going, right? All right, so there is my insert, right like that. Again, I use the liquid glue, which is easier for me to slide things around where I want them. I'm going to use this little piece here for right here on the inside, and I just line it up with the white cardstock here, just like that. The next piece I'm going to do is this inside piece here. Right here on this side. front. And then I'm going to do that last piece on the front. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that to my front. Like that. Okay, so now all of my designer paper is attached here. And so now the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my 1-inch circle. So, and this is from the Stylish Shape Dies. So, and I'm just going to use this circle that's in here. So I am going to use this one right here. So it's not the smallest one, it's the next one up. And I'm going to run this. So this is the part that's going to get folded in. And essentially I'm going to make like a little lip so that you can pull out the gift card and see the gift card once it's in there. So I'm just going to put this right on here and I'm going to die cut this part. And again, I use a little piece of washi tape to hold it into place. And try not to get it too much on your card because you don't want to rip your card. But we want to create that circle. Alright. So I ran that through. So now, look, I created that little lip. And then this is just an extra piece you can toss. Or you can save it for another project if you have something in mind. So that can go. So some people have a punch. I just have a die, so I have to use my die. It makes like this perfect semicircle right here. And then it could be more centered. I mean, like it's not exactly perfect, but the next step that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a little bit of tear-in tape. I think I have some. Hopefully I didn't just mess that up. Okay, so tear-in tape looks kind of like this. And I'm just going to do a strip and a strip. So I don't need much. Hopefully I can. So I'm going to put it right there. Pull it, pull it, pull it to the end. Like that. And you can just tear it right off. It's super easy like that. Alright, and the same with this side. So I'm going to do the exact same thing right here. And I mean, you can be pretty accurate, and I didn't need much at all, so I still have some for my next project. But okay, so now I can remove the other side of the tear-in tape. So actually, after seeing this on this red, I don't know if I would have used it on the last one. All right, so sometimes it's easiest if you put a gift card in. So you can either put it this way and it'll fit, or this way, just to shut this. But I'm going to put it in this way. And then that way, when I shut this, I know exactly where it's going to be, and it's going to leave a little bit of room so that it's easy to pull that in and out. Because if it's too tight, it'll be hard to pull the gift card in and out of that pocket. So by keeping it in there, it makes it so there's like a little bit of space. So you can easily pull that out and in, and that tear-in tape will stick well. Right there, just like that. So, like I said, I think I'm a little annoyed that I didn't line that up just right. I know that you can, but I love using the die because it does leave a nice little stitching. So it's not just a punch that'll just like punch it out, but it actually leaves a beautiful stitched semicircle. So yeah, so I'm just gonna leave that gift card in there because that's fun, right? Makes it nice and hard, like a nice hard workspace to work on here. And then the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to do some stamping. So the next pieces that I'm going to need are these two last final pieces. This is a 2 and 3/4 by 4-piece colored cardstock, the red cardstock. This is 2.5 by 3 3/4 white. And we're gonna stamp this first. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I used a lot of different things. And I already die cut, so a white roof, because I do like that snow-covered roof. I think that looks really cool. So, but the rest of it's all mainly stamping, just pure stamps. So, I'm gonna put these on my block. And I'm gonna stamp this card and make a new design here. So, I like to start with, well, I guess I could start with the gingerbread card. That would be the best part to start with. Give me a house. I'm going to put that on my block. Use the crumb cake because that just makes a beautiful colored crumb cake. Crumb cake just sounds delicious, like gingerbread man, gingerbread house, gingerbread cookies. Okay, so there's my gingerbread house, and I'm going to stamp this down right in the middle of the card. Just like that. And you can use a foam pad if you have one to put underneath to get that really nice impression, but that actually worked really well, so I don't have to worry about that. Cleaning off my stamp and going to pull that off, put my next piece on this piece, and now this piece, instead of using crumb cake this time, I used red, like this, red around the edges of the windows and the door, like that. And then I also used green, the garden green. Okay, so cleaned off my stamp. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing, and then I'm going to use the garden green. So I just go close to my other one and try to make a new line. So it has like a little red, little green. And pull this piece off. Pull out the windows. I'm going to need that green a lot too, but I'm going to do my windows in the So Saffron. So I tried to stick to a couple of colors. I didn't like use a million different colors, just the red, the green, the Pool Party, and the So Saffron, and the crumb cake. When I stick to those colors, it makes it easy to do all three of these projects, and you don't have to keep changing your ink pads. Okay, so I've got my windows, and then I did, on this one, I did a red door, so I'm going to do a red door again. Because I really like the way that that looks. So I'm going to keep going. And so nice because everything's already all lined up. I do not even have to think about where that was going. There's a spot right there for it. And then I used the wreath instead of the heart on this one. So I'm going to pull that garden green back out. It's just a lot of going back and forth between the colors, which is fine. You can leave them open. I just don't. It's not my style to like leave them open because I'm afraid I'll touch them, which I've done lots of times. So there we go. And while I have the green out here, I'll try to be, I I should have done like all the red stamping and then all the green stamping, but I was bouncing all around. So since I have the green out, I will do the trees next. So in the trees, I just tap, 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 and I did one out here, and then I did one over here, this side, just like that. And then again, since I have the green out, I'm gonna go ahead and I did a gumdrop, just a cute little gumdrop. And I did this one right here in front of the house, like that. Clean that off, and now I'm gonna keep the gumdrop, but I'm gonna switch the color to red. Real red. And do this one on the other side of the house here. Perfect. Now I can switch this one out and grab my candy cane. So I can do this one next. Oops. Brought my help with me. Oops, again. These blocks are slippery tonight, I guess. Okay. All right, so I got my candy cane here, and I did one on this side as well. So, all right, that is done for the stamping. You can stamp the roof on there as well, but since I am going to put the snow on the roof, I don't think I'm going to also stamp it. I don't need to. Yeah, because that's just going to cover it up. But before I do that, and just getting super inky. Okay, so this is another thing that you can totally do, okay? So I got ink all over my fingers. Okay, so what I can do is I can go ahead and attach my roof, if I like here. Attach the roof. Come on. There we go. Remember, I just squeeze and then I move it. Squeeze and then I move it. Squeeze and then I move it really quick. So be careful not to go too low on that because you don't want it to... I guess it doesn't matter on this one. On the other one, it was like hanging off the edge if you went too low. This one, that doesn't matter as much. All right. So now that we have our roof... and we got some snow going on. Okay, so what I did with this one was I actually embossed. So if you can see that embossing? I embossed it over top of everything after I stamped it. So right now it doesn't really need it. And you can put this on here and you can put it right on your card, on your front of your card, just like that. Or you can take that, and if you have a Christmas embossing folder, like I have this snowflake embossing folder, I just put it inside like this, and you know, you can move it around as you like till it's in there where you want it. And now I can just run this through the embossing machine. So this is the Wintry 3D embossing folder. So I am going to just push this through my embossing machine. Makes a fun noise. And, whoops. I can show you now. through. And now I'm going to take it out and look at this. Now, I don't know, I think that's a cool technique. I really love the way it looks. And you can even, if you wanted to, you can take a blending brush over top of the snow with like a pool party or a blue to make those really pop out. But if you're holding the card in your hand, it's not hard to see. Look at that, it's so neat. And I think gingerbread house, I don't know, it adds a little something to it. So the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this down. So, like this. Like this, right on here. And just like that. Now I'm going to grab that tear and tape again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tear and tape right here. And then I'm going to put it on this card all the way on this side. That way it'll be glued right here and right here with the tear and tape. So I just pull off a strip like this. And then I try to center it the best that I can. Like that. And then, oh, this is my last little strip of tear and tape. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so remember, I'm gonna put it all the way on this edge here. Like that, and you can use more if you need more, but I'm just gonna take off that tape on both sides here and line it up so that it's centered. I kind of made like the center of the roof be the center of the card and the center of the door. And you can push that down like that. And there you have it. Card number 2 is done. All right. Very cool. And no 2 card will be alike because there's no way you can put it in that embossing folder perfectly, right? All right, but that was really cool. Okay, so that one I thought was really beautiful, designed by the Paper Pixie. So I really love that. And everybody needs a gift card holder for the the holidays. So look at that. So that one's good. Okay. And that one's ready. So I can set these aside now and pull out the third and final card. Okay, so this is from our home to yours is what I called this card. It looks like this. Super quick and easy card, okay? So first off, we're gonna need that cardstock cut 4 1/4 by 11, and then scored at 5 1/2. Okay, so score that, fold it right in half like that. And then I'm going to need a 9-inch piece of red ribbon. I'm also going to need a piece of white cut 5 1/4 by 4 for the insert here. So that'll go inside. Then I also am going to need another piece cut for white that I'm going to use for all of my die cuts. Then I'm going to use Pool Party, and I'm going to use some Designer Series paper. The Pool Party is 5 1/4 by 4, which is the same as the white pieces. And then this Designer Series paper is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. So if we were to build this one, again, you can pause the video if you need to pause right here and write down the measurements. See, these aren't these are just my notes that I keep for myself so that I can walk you through. Okay, so pause the video if you need to, write those down, and I can start building this. So what I'm gonna do is, yes, okay, so this one, I did something cool on the inside. So before I attach anything, I am gonna use this. So this is for the Advent stamper, right? So we're gonna do the Stitch with Whimsy stitching all the way around. So that's this die, Stitch with Whimsy. And I use the second to the biggest one, this one. And I'm gonna run that through the embossing machine first on this insert, like that. So take your time and line it up, push it through the embossing machine. And the Stitch with Whimsy is really cool. It leaves that impression, but it doesn't cut your cardstock. So it just leaves you that really beautiful impression. Set that aside. And then remember what I said, we're going to stamp before we attach. So I'm going to open my Real Red. And I'm going to grab my stamps and get my Have a Sweet Christmas, which I love. This stamp. I think it's pretty. I love the font. I think that's why I like it so much. So Have a Sweet Christmas right in the middle. Beautiful. Clean that off. And I'm gonna grab my candy canes again. My candy cane. Stamp. 1 and 2. Easy peasy. Clean that off. I'm going to close this for a second. And I'm going to go ahead and put the stamp away for a second. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the glue and I'm going to attach this to the inside of my card. So here we go. So what I love about this one and all of these is honestly they're super easy to do. Lots of stamping makes for less coloring, which is great because coloring takes a lot of time. So it's kind of cool that you can still have that very colorful effect on your card without having to actually color. So again, I'm using the green glue so that I can kind of shift and slide this if I need to, but that looks good to me. And that whimsy just adds a little extra, right? Very beautiful. Okay, so now we're ready to start building the next layer. So, and the next layer and the bottom layer of the front of this one is this designer paper. So again, the designer paper is 2 different colors. I really, really love both sides. It's very hard for me to use just one side and to cover up one side. But I am going to go ahead and attach this piece so that it can start to seal and make a good solid seal on my card. And there's just going to be a tiny little bit of that smoky slate color peeking through from the back. Okay, that is on there and on there. Good. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to work on my next layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece right here. This is Pool Party, and I'm going to actually get my Pool Party ink. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create an effect. So I use my blending brush. I rub it in the ink like this. I'm sure there are other ways to do this. You always start off of your paper usually for the blending brush, but for this one, I'm gonna start right in the middle of this, and I'm just gonna start making a circle. And I push a little bit harder as I want it to get a little bit darker. All right, and then I get a little bit more of this ink, and then I'm gonna go right in the middle of the card, and I just kind of do like a circle out. So make it darker in the middle, and then as it gets out, it's gonna get a little lighter. And yes, it's pool party on pool party, but it's not, it's gonna look different. You're gonna see. All right, so that's what it looks like, okay? Then what I'm gonna do, set my blending brush aside, set my ink aside, and I'm gonna grab another one of these really cool embossing, wintry embossing folders. So I have a couple of different ones. This is the wintry 3D one that I just used with the snowflakes. And then this one is Charming Landscape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this Charming Landscape one. And I used the snowflake, the snow-covered hills like this one, and the very first one that I did. But now I wanna try it with the little village behind and see if that looks different. I am gonna go ahead and run this through. And since my card is top to bottom, I'm gonna do it like this, so that the village looks like it's in the distance behind the gingerbread house. So a little gingerbread village, if you will. So that's what I'm gonna do, it right through the embossing machine like this, as I'm tripping over my trash can. And these are, I think this one is not a 3D, so do something a little bit different on this one. Hopefully it'll come out. There we go. So we're going through, get that out. Oh, you hear that static? All right, so now I have what appears to be a cute little landscape, a charming landscape in the back. So that's what it looks like so far. And this little bit of pool party, it brings out like the stitching and the snow. I don't know, it just looks really neat to me. If you don't like it, you can always flip it over and use this side, but I'm gonna use this side. And the next step that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and attach this to the designer series paper. So that designer series paper is going to just peek out behind this paper, just like the smoky slate behind the designer series paper. So I'm just gonna leave a little tiny rim all the way around like that, and push that down so that I can start to seal. And so we have this cute little landscape in the background, and now we're gonna start building our gingerbread house in the front. So the last piece of white, so we have this insert, now we have the outside, now we're gonna work on this piece. So this piece, I'm going to do all of my stamping on. So this one is a great combination of stamping and of die cutting. So I'm going to start with my gingerbread house like this, and crumb cake. So this time I think I am going to use this is my Stampin' pad here. Put this underneath so it gets a really nice impression underneath all of my stamps. All right, so my gingerbread house here. Okay. Then I'm going to put this back, grab the door. Okay, so I need red. Actually, I think I'm gonna, yeah, it's fine. I'll do red first, and I'll come back over the green. So then I'm gonna do red, and I'm gonna do the door. Right here, can you see that on, right on here? Love that red door. Clean off my stamp. Then I'm going to grab the, so what I did, oh, this is a fun technique. Okay, so I used this candy cane, but I only did the candy cane part. So I just tap, tap, tap the candy cane part on the stamp pad. So stamp, stamp, stamp till that's red. And then, so you can either wipe this off or you can cover it up with some masking tape. Okay, so that's what I did, like that. And then I just used the swirl above the door. So I think I did it like this just in case. Just like that. So you can see a little bit of the top of mine on here, but I'll be able to cover that up with a little bit of, let's see, here's crumb cake. Let's see if I can't cover that up a little bit. So this is just a blending pen so that I could, and I used crumb cake just to try to pull some of that red out. It worked a little bit. If you look closely, you can see my mistake, but not too bad. So now I can use the, oops, the red. I'm still gonna need that one. Tap, 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 make a couple of these. Like that. And then I'm going to grab some gumdrops. And there are two, so I don't have to do this separately, which is great. I need two red ones. And I'm not putting them too close because I'm going to die cut all these out, and I need space in between so that I can fit the dies. So I think I'm done with red now. I need to move on to the garden green. All right, and I'm gonna start with these gumdrops. So I'm gonna do, again, not too close, but not too far because we have a lot of stuff we need to fit on here. Okay, so done with the gumdrops. 1 and 2. And I'm half tempted to put a little wreath. So this will be different than my other one, but maybe cover up my mistake a little bit. So this is kind of fun, funky. And stamp. I'll see if it looks good or if it looks silly. Green. And I need from our home to yours and some Christmas trees and the roof. So from our home to yours up here. Shoot. Well, that was a mistake. That I'll probably do again on the back. I might have have to cut another piece of paper. I just hit against something. So, oh. Oh, is that better? Let's see, I can't. Ugh. Should have cleaned it off first. I might have to stamp that one more time. That's okay. I will move on to the trees. So I have a tree. One, two, three. Clean, clean, clean. And I'm going to grab this one now. So this one I did in green. Tap, tap, tap. Green ink, and then this one goes over like that. And clean that off. Come over here. And then I need my windows and my roof. So my roof is green. So I'm going to do that one first. And hopefully I can fit this on here, no problem. Okay, that's my green roof. And I am going to grab the windows and change my ink pad here to the So Saffron. And tap, tap, tap. Do my windows like that. Perfect. Okay. So that's everything except for the cloud. So the cloud, I would normally be able to fit on here, like if I closed everything closer together. But you can also die cut out on the pool party like we did on the very first card. So let's see. I think I already, so we have a die cut. So I'm going to die cut out all of these. That's my next step. So in this one, I'm going to stamp 2 while I have this open. From our home to yours. So, and that's what I'm going to do. Oh wait, I did it on here. So I just have to cut this one out. That's how I did it. I'm sorry. I'm forgetting how I did it. It's right in front of my face. Okay, so now I can set these aside. And I'm going to go ahead and die cut these out. So I'm going to need all the dies. And I'm going to do this so that I only have to do it one time, hopefully, or 2 times. So I'm going to, oh, I don't even need the door because I stamped the door right on my house, but I do need the tree. I do need the house. I do need the little gumdrops. I do need the roof. I do need the candy canes. And I do have another tree. And I do have another gumdrop. That'll just make it easier. And then I have some washi tape. And let me show you how I do this. So what I do is I just line them up the best that I can. with the design. And then I just stick the washi tape right on the paper like that. And I try not to cover up anything. So obviously if I was using this, I wouldn't be going over top of it. But because I'm not going to use it, I'm going to go over top of it so I can try to do more. So I just need a little tiny piece of this one for my candy canes. It's funny, I keep saying candy canes, but they're more like lollipops, aren't they? Hopefully you can see and kind of get an idea. So I am just lining these up the best that I can. And so this one over here, and then the little gumdrops. So it's a lot of like up front here, but as soon as I push it through, it'll be a lot easier to just have all these things ready to glue down. Just like that. Hopefully that's close enough. And so now I'm just going to move this over to my die cutting machine, my embossing machine, and cover it up with a plate and push it through. So now I should have some pieces to get started with. Here they go. My house here. Oops. So the washi tape is great because it doesn't always rip the paper. Like you can pull it up and save the cardstock. But sometimes it does rip. So I won't say it's always perfect, but for the most part it works well. So I got my little roof. Got my little tree. I only need one more tree. I got my little lollipops. Put that back. And you kind of get an idea of how much time it takes to set it up. But for the most part, I mean, it's fun. This is for somebody who loves to stamp and to make beautiful cards. Or paper projects. It doesn't have to be a card. But very, very fun little set that has all kinds of things you can do with it. Okay, so I'm going to do these last little die cuts. We got one more tree. I got one more little gumdrop. That one did not want to line up for me. Oh, I'm looking for this cutting plate. It's right in front of my face. So I have my last little pieces here. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my stitch. This one, stylish shape dies, and I used, I believe I used this one. So I used this on the last project too with my circle punch, my circle die. So I definitely need to get some magnetic strips for these, but so now I'm gonna just push this over top of this one, and I'm going to put it down with some washi tape, and then I'm going to push that through. And that'll be the last step before I can start building the card. Okay, now I should have all the pieces, and so it all fit on there pretty nicely. And I even made a mistake. I just need to remember that for next time. I need it a little bit bigger so I can add in the cloud. So now I can start to build this. I'm gonna put all my dies away so I don't lose them. I'll just move them aside here. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring the card back here, and I'm going to build this up. So what I did with this one was I used some dimensionals, and I popped some of the stuff up, some of the stuff I did not. Okay, so the house I did where I attached the roof, but then I popped up the rest of the house. So I'm going to do the same thing. So again, using my liquid glue, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on here and rub that. I don't want it to like come out the one side, so I like to push the glue back onto the project. So, and I think that looks fine with the reef. It's fine. It's not, I don't like it as much as I like the other one, but it covers up my mistake a little bit. The other one I used the blue gumdrops, and they look kind of like second windows. But okay, so now that I have that, now I'm gonna put this one up on some dimensionals. Okay, like that. And then I can attach this straight to the card that's been already glued together and ready to be assembled. So I can do this house here, like that. And then I used mini dimensionals for these candy cane lollipops. So, and then I just am building, you know, so you can do it however you like. But I just kind of move everything around until it looks happy and until it makes me say, wow, that looks pretty cool. And, excuse me, I'm going to use some mini dimensionals for the little gumdrops. So the mini dimensionals are just popping them right up off the page, making it look cool. And we are almost done here. I glued some of the trees down, so I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to glue, and then I popped one up on my original one with a dimensional. A mini, I'm going to do two. It's a nice tall tree. These are down. I'm going to attach this one right over here. Okay, and then I got a couple more of these gumdrops. So I'm going to add those to the front of the house here. There's one and two, like that. And I guess I could have put them up here if I wanted to, but I still need to add my cloud and my from our home. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue right in the middle of this one. Add this one, just like that. And then it's like going to be like a cloud of smoke coming out on this one. I'm going to use the large dimensionals and to add these. Okay, so now this is ready to go on. Like that. So I could have done the background a little bit darker with that pool party first bit where I use the blending brush to like make it darker and give it a little bit of like, it looks like a swirling storm, I guess, kind of to me. But okay, the last thing that I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to attach this bow. So I just tie it in a bow and mess with it until it looks good. Somebody said, lots of people have said that this ribbon is their favorite ribbon for tying bows, but I am just terrible at tying bows, I think, because I always struggle with getting that perfect bow. I'm still a work in progress. It's definitely something that I need to practice with. Sometimes I get it on the first try, but not usually. That's all right, right? It's almost like I pull it too tight sometimes or too soft sometimes. Anyway, I used a glue dot to attach this. So these are just regular glue dots. I'm going to grab one for the back. I'm actually going to do two, just to make sure that it's on there, it's not going anywhere. And then I just attached my bow right to this hat, just like that. And that's if you want another little bit of extra. Look how cool. It's a 3D, total 3D card. So everything was stamped, then it was die cut, and now this is the final card. So card number 3 is done. Look at that. So I have this beautiful card. Let's pull back out the other ones that we did. We have the gift card holder, okay, and we have the lollipop land is what I was calling it. So now you have 3 beautiful cards from this suite that you can make and use to give to someone at Christmas. And think about how amazing it would be to receive a handmade card and or to make one. If you like crafts and you're interested in making things like this, please, I'd love to have you on my team. Join my team. I'll teach you how. My team and I, we are constantly connected, making projects all the time, and sharing with each other all the different things that we do. But another thing is, if you enjoy or want to share these cards with others, it's super fun too. But I want to go ahead and finish this out here. My website and everything will be in the description below so that you can find me. And please like and subscribe to my channel so for more tutorials. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great great holiday season. Take care.